builder. We're in Chicago and I want to show you a few of the great buildings here. We're standing in front of the Art Institute. That is a neoclassical building in the Beaux-Arts style. What that means is it has extra ornaments and detail. It was built during the World's Columbian Exposition in 1893, and it houses one of the world's largest art collections. This is the modern wing to the Art Institute. It was designed by architect Renzo Piano in 2009. It uses limestone to tie into the older Art Institute building, but primarily is built with steel and glass, which is unusual for an art gallery. It captures a lot of daylight, but it uses the louvers that you see that float above the roof to modulate and filter the amount of light that comes into the building. The modern wing also ties the Art Institute, which is situated on Michigan Avenue with its main front entrance, has another entrance that faces Millennium Park in this direction. So there's a glass facade with views out to the park, and then a pedestrian bridge where people can cross over to the park or come to the museum from the park. This is the Pritzker Pavilion, designed by architect Frank Gehry. And we are now in Millennium Park, which is directly across the street from the Art Institute. And you can see the modern wing in the background. Millennium Park was completed in 2004. Before that, it was a parking lot and a train depot. The mayor, Richard Daley, decided that it should be beautified, and the trains still exist, but they are a level below the surface, and covered the rest with a green space that continues the system of parks that line the lakefront. In this direction is Lake Michigan. The Pritzker Pavilion consists of a bandshell in characteristic Frank Gehry deconstructivist forms. They're clad with titanium steel cladding, and the curves of the forms serve both a functional purpose in the acoustics. This is a bandshell where different orchestras or bands or music groups will play live, and the music is then projected out into the grass area here. But they also have a metaphorical component in representing the flowing and emanating sound of the music. You can also see the crisscross structure of the stainless steel tubes above us that hold the speakers and lights. This is Frank Gehry's only Chicago building, and it has been continued in this direction with another addition to the park, and he built a bridge out of titanium that you can see there that goes and connects other parks. It's a great amenity for the city, and a very inspirational and fun piece to look down upon from the neighboring skyscrapers. Just up the street from Millennium Park is the Aqua Tower. It was designed by architect Jeannie Gang and completed in 2010. At 82 stories, it's in what is considered to be the tall buildings category of skyscrapers. Aqua is located on Lake Michigan at the inlet of the Chicago River, and the presence of the water contributed to the aesthetic of the building. One of the challenges of designing a skyscraper is that it's most economical to make it a great big box. And the brilliance of this building is that it's just that. It's a big box. But the architect has used undulating balconies to create the effect of water cascading down the building. So you have a
big aesthetic effect for a small engineering impact. Some of the environmental features include fritted glass, which reduces solar heat gain, and it has one of the largest green roofs in Chicago. Aqua has won numerous design awards and proudly takes its place among Chicago's high-rises.
These are the Marina City towers designed by architect Bertrand Goldberg in 1959. They're called Marina City because they're located right here on the Chicago River. And the bottom portion of the building contains an actual marina where boats are docked. The buildings were built to provide apartment housing for people in the city. At the time, lots of people were moving out of the city into suburbs. So it was an attempt to keep people living in the city. The towers are identical at about 65 stories, and they're mixed use, which means the bottom portion is a parking garage. You pull your car onto a car elevator, and it lifts it up to whichever level, and then you back the car into the parking space. You can see the back ends of all the cars there. The upper portion above that is a hotel, and then above that is condominiums. You can see the Trump Tower in the background. It's the tall one, tall silver and glass one behind it. The Marina City is iconic in its concrete curved style. It's been affectionately named the Corn Cob Towers by Chicagoans, and it contributes significantly to the skyline here along the river. Lloyd Wright's Frederick C. Robie House. We are in the middle of the University of Chicago campus, which is in the southern part of Chicago. And built in 1909, this is the greatest example of Frank Lloyd Wright's prairie school style. So it's different than anything that you would see around you. In this time period, things were being built in Victorian and up-and-coming craftsman style, things that were still classical and neoclassical. Prairie school was a term that was coined not by Frank Lloyd Wright himself, but by the architectural critics of the time, who referred to his use of horizontal planes and their reference to the Midwest landscape. You'll also notice that his detailing, which was completely different than anything done at the time, was a reference to the Midwest prairie and its plant life. You'll notice that the horizontal planes are anchored by the vertical element of the chimney. And this is characteristic of Frank Lloyd Wright and his styles. For example, in Falling Water, you'll notice the same thing. He also emphasizes the horizontal line with the bricks, and the mortar is heavier in the horizontal. The bricks are actually a specially dimensioned brick, which is longer in the horizontal dimension than an actual brick. So Frank Lloyd Wright was one of the most influential American architects. This prairie school style is uniquely American, and his influence extended to architects such as Mies van der Rohe, who were active in the time period just following him. Here we are now at Crown Hall, designed by architect Mies van der Rohe in 1956. We're on the campus of the Illinois Institute of Technology, which Mies did the master planning for, and he designed several of the buildings here. This is actually the architecture building where he taught for a period of time and where I did my graduate work in architecture. The building is in the international style, which Mies was influential in developing, and you see it's primarily steel and glass. And Mies held true to his motto, less is more. Did you know it was Mies who said that? What what it means is that ornament is not necessary, that there is beauty in the minimal details. So what Mies strove to do was to take the steel and glass details and make them smart and beautiful. He focused on the connections between the steel pieces where the columns would join the beams, and he would even design the rivet patterns. And so those things became the details and became the ornament in the work, which is otherwise void of any ornament. One of the significant things about Crown Hall is that it is a clear span structure. That means that there are no columns on the inside of this building, which spans 120 feet across. The interior space is completely open, and that falls within Mies's ideal of open space and free space. It's kind of the modernist idea of a universal space that can be used and programmed and reprogrammed however the user desires. His work also includes skyscrapers in the downtown of Chicago, and he and his style were very influential